Hey everyone, welcome to Tech Marvel. Today we are diving into AWS Identity and Access Management, commonly known as IAM. If you're looking to secure your AWS environment properly, this is absolutely essential knowledge. In this lab, we will walk through creating IAM users and groups, setting up permissions, and implementing best practices for access management in AWS. So whether you are preparing for an AWS certification or managing resources in a real environment, mastering IAM is crucial for your cloud journey. Let me quickly explain what IAM is before we jump into the hands-on portion. IAM is the AWS service that helps you securely control access to your AWS resources. Instead of sharing your root account credentials, which you should never do, IAM lets you create and manage individual users, groups, and permissions to provide fine-grained access control. This lab will take about 30 minutes to complete, and the skills you'll learn apply globally across all AWS regions. So let's get started. Before I start, by the end of this tutorial, you will know how to sign into the AWS Management Console, create IAM users, set up IAM groups with different access permissions, attach policies to those groups, assign users to the appropriate groups based on their roles. So we'll start with our first task. Task 1 is signing into the AWS console. First, let's sign into the AWS Management Console by navigating to the aws.amazon.com and click on sign in to the console. So I've already navigated to aws.amazon.com, and the first thing I'm going to do is to click on the sign in button. And then I have to fill in my username. So for this lab, I'll be using my AWS account. I've entered my username and password, and then I'll click sign in. So for my account, I enabled multi-factor authenticator, which adds on a layer of security. So I'll just place in my code just now. Once we are in, let's set our default AWS region to US East, North Virginia. That's US East 1. So I tried to sign in, but my attempt failed. So I have signed in. So I have to set my default region to US East. So if you look here at the top, I'm already in US East 1, North Virginia. So you can find the region drop down in the top right corner of the console, which is right up here. So while IAM is a global service, it's good practice to set a consistent region for all your AWS work. So task 2, creating IAM users. Now let's create our first set of users. We'll create 4 users, Alex and Maya from the development team, and Carlos and Priya from HR. So from the AWS console, click on the services menu and search for IAM under the security, identity, and compliance section. Now this takes us to the IAM dashboard. Now, in the left navigation pane, click on users and then click the create user button. So there is users, and then we'll click on create user. Let's start with our first user, Alex. enter Alex as the username, and then next, check the box for provide user access to the AWS Management Console. Now this is optional. So we want our users to be able to log in. So we will select custom password and enter our custom password as the password. I'll click on I want to create an IAM user. So AWS always recommends that you create IAM users only if you need to enable programmatic access through access keys, service-specific credentials for AWS code commit, or Amazon key spaces, or backup credentials for emergency account access. So I'll create a custom password. For this lab, we will uncheck the option for users to create a new password at next sign in. But in a production environment, you would typically want to enforce this. So what I will do is click next. For now, we won't add any permissions directly to the user. We will handle that through groups later. So we will click next. Now we have tags here. Now for tags are key value pairs that help you organize and categorize your AWS resources. For Alex, let's add a tag with key dev team. And for the value, developers. Click next, review everything, and then click create user. So here, we'll just click create user. If you see any error message, you can safely ignore it for this lab. Just click return to users list and then continue if prompted. So to view the user, before we view the user, AWS is telling us to retrieve password. You can view and download the user's password below, or email users instructions for signing into the AWS Management Console. This is the only time you can view and download this password. So this can be sent to him via email, and then you'll be able to get his username and password. Or we can download it as a CSV file. So the CSV file will have his username and password. And it will also have the console sign-in URL. So we have Alex here. Now Alex, at a later stage, can be able to enable multi-factor authenticator, because now we've created this user without enabling multi-factor authenticator. Now we are going to repeat this process for our other users. We are going to create Maya with the same password and the same dev team tag. We'll create Carlos with the same password, but with a tag key HR team and value HR. Then finally, we'll create Priya with the same password and HR team tag. So I'll go back to users, create user, under username, I'll create Maya. So I'll check the box that says provide user access to the AWS Management Console. I'll check I want to create an IAM user, and I'll check custom password. I will uncheck users must create a new password at next sign in. Then I'll click next. I'll click next again. For tags, Maya will be having dev team as the tag, and the value will be developers. Then we'll click on create user. And then we'll go back to the left pane, click on users. We'll click on create user just to verify we have Alex and we have Maya. So we'll create Carlos. And then we'll check provide user access to AWS Management Console. We'll check I want to create an IAM user. We'll check custom password. Then we will uncheck users must create a new password at next sign in. We will click next. And then we will click next again. We'll have to add a new tag. Now for Carlos, the tag will be HR team. And the value will be HR. Then we'll click on create user. We'll view the user. So we have Carlos already. Then we'll go to the left pane again and click on users. And then we'll click on create user. So under username, we'll create another user called Priya. Then we will check provide user access to the AWS Management Console. We will check I want to create an IAM user. We will check custom password. Then we will uncheck users must create a new password at next sign in. Then we will click on next. Under tags, we will create the key tag as HR team. The value will be HR. Then we'll click on create user at the bottom. Then we'll click on view user. So Priya, we've created Priya as a user. So when I click on users at the left pane, I'll see that we have Alex, we have Carlos, we have Maya, and we have Priya. Now, our third task will be creating IAM groups and assigning users. Now that we have our users, let's organize them into groups and assign appropriate permissions. We will create two groups, one for the development team and one for the human resource team. In the IAM dashboard, we will click on user groups. So we'll go back to the left pane and click on user groups. So this is the left navigation pane. I've clicked on user groups. And then we'll click on create group. For our first group, we will enter dev team. Dev team will be the group name. Then we'll scroll down to add users to the group. So remember, Alex and Maya are in the dev team. So we have Maya, we'll check Maya and Alex. We have added them. Now remember, an IAM user is an entity that you create in AWS to represent the person or application that uses it to interact with AWS. Now, for the important part, permissions. We've scrolled down. So to attach permission policies, we've scrolled down. These permission policies are predefined sets of permissions that AWS maintains. For our developers, let's search for and select. So here, under search, we'll search for Amazon EC2 read-only access. You can see Amazon EC2 read-only access. We will check this box. Now this gives them read-only access to EC2 services. And then back under search, we'll have to select Amazon S3 read-only access. So we'll check the box. So this gives Maya and Alex read-only access to S3 buckets. Now, we are keeping permissions minimal to avoid potential errors in the lab environment. But in a real scenario, you might add more based on your team's needs. So before you click on Create User Group, you can review the settings and click Create Group if you're happy with your settings. As you can see back at the top, the name of this group is Dev Team. We've selected Alex and Maya, and we've given them 2 permissions. So we are going to click on Create User Group. Now this is the Dev Team. If I click on the Dev Team, you can confirm we have Alex and Maya. So going back to the left navigation pane, I've clicked on User Groups. Now let's create our second group. We'll click on Create Group. Now we are going to do the same thing we did. We'll give this a name, HR Team. And then we will add Carlos and Priya to this group. Now for HR's permissions, we will give them access to billing information. So we'll scroll down to attach permission policies. Now remember, you can attach up to 10 policies to this group. All the users in this group will have permissions that are defined in the selected policies. And that's what we are doing. So under search, I'll write billing. Now we have billing here. I'll click on billing. Now if I wanted, I would also add AWS billing read-only access, AWS billing conductor read-only. Now those are also other policies that you can select if you want to. So for now, I'll leave it minimal. I'll check billing. Now I'm going to create this group by clicking here below. Perfect. We have created our 2 groups with different permissions, reflecting the different responsibilities of each team. I'll show you just here. I'll click on HR Team. Now the HR team, which represents Human Resource Team, has Carlos and Priya. Now by clicking on Carlos, I can see Carlos has only one permission, which is access to billing. If I go back to user groups, we have the dev team. that has Alex and Maya. Now, if this were a production environment, you would want to test each user's access. You could do this by signing out of the console and signing back in with each user's credentials to verify they can access only what they are supposed to. So by going up here above, I would sign out and sign in with each user's credentials. For example, Alex and Maya should be able to view EC2 instances and S3 buckets, but not modify them. Let's use Alex as an example. If you click on Alex, you'll see that Alex is able to view EC2 instances and S3 buckets. As you can see here, Amazon EC2 read-only access, Amazon S3 read-only access. Now if I go back to user groups and I click on HR team, we have Carlos and Priya. They should have access to billing information. Let's use Priya as an example. If you click on Priya, you'll see that Priya has access to billing information. Let's say billing information, yeah. Now, none of them should be able to create or delete IAM users or groups. Now, this testing step is crucial in a real environment to ensure your permission boundaries are working correctly. Now that we've done the above, we've created the users and the user groups, we've given them permissions. What I can say is congratulations. You have, if you followed along, you have created 4 IAM users with appropriate tags. You've set up 2 IAM groups with different permission sets. You've assigned users to their respective groups based on their roles. You've implemented the principle of least privilege by giving each group only the permissions they need. So, some key best practices to remember. Always follow the principle of least privilege. Give users only the permissions they absolutely need. Use IAM groups to manage permissions instead of attaching policies directly to users. Use tags to help organize and easily identify your resources. Regularly audit your IAM users and permissions to ensure security. Now, never share your root account credentials or IAM user access keys. Now, that wraps up our AWS IAM lab. Understanding IAM is fundamental to securing your AWS environment and managing access effectively. So, in future videos, we will explore more advanced IAM concepts like creating custom IAM policies, setting up multi-factor authentication, using IAM roles for EC2 instances, implementing IAM best practices at scale. Now, if you found this tutorial helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to Tech Marvel for more AWS tutorials and cloud computing content. Now, drop a comment if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.